Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our evening Shabbat class, 12th of October, 2024. Okay, we'll be dealing with Israel return, concerning Israel return and how it's supposed to transpire, how it's supposed to transform itself. So it's no different than in the past when Israel was in captivity and they came out. The same thing is going to happen this time when Israel come out of captivity. Okay, we have a blueprint. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos, and you can examine, check out, and these videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And they connect dots for you. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. The likes will help the channel to move along. And for those who want to support the channel, we have our cash out at the bottom of the screen. Okay. The hours that we are live on Prophets of Awakening is Tuesday, Wednesday from 7 to 9 Central Time, and then p.m. And then we have our 2 Sabbath classes on the Shabbat, one in the morning from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we have we close out the Shabbat in the evenings from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay. So with that being said, those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, consists of the law, our statutes, our way of life, our culture, given to Moses by our Redeemer, Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, evening Sabbath prayer, Psalms. We do some current events, some need-to-know information, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A, any dialogue, and then we go into our topic inside the class, which is concerning Israel's return, right? The blueprint. Okay, it's in Ezra chapters 3, 4, and 5. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongs unto Thee. Therefore, we come before Thee at this hour, seeking Thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee, as Thy servants David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before Thee in truth and in righteousness and in the rightness of heart. For we desire to walk after Thee, O Lord, and to keep Your commandments, Your testimony, and Your statutes with all our heart and soul, and to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by Your prophets. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people. Hear our plea. Hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us any longer, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay. With that being said, I will read the Psalms. Okay. Okay. I'll read Psalms 43. It's a prayer for deliverance from the ungodly. Right? It's judge me, O God, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation. O deliver me from deceitful and unjust men, for Thou art the God of my strength. Why dost Thou cast me off? Why go I mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? O send out thy light and thy truth, and let them lead me. Let them bring me into thy holy hill and to thy tabernacle. Then will I go unto the altar of God, and to God my exceeding joy. Yea, upon the harp will I praise thee. O God, my God, why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? Hope in God, for I shall yet praise him, who is the help of my countenance and my God. Okay, so that was Psalms 43, a prayer for deliverance from ungodly. I want to shine a light on verse 3. It says, "Oh, send out thy light and thy truth." So notice right there, when in these last days, and before we can return to him, we have to know the truth. And that's what we're encountering right now. It says, "Send out thy light and thy truth. Let them lead me." See that? "And let them bring me unto thy holy hill and unto thy tabernacles." So that's exactly what's happening. Like I said, when we wake up, these last days, it's not about being an Israelite. You find out you're an Israelite, but where the reason you being awakened is to be to turn you to your God. And our God dwells in Jerusalem on that holy hill. Okay? Is there something? Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay. Yeah, so with that being said, we go to some current events. Okay.
IDs as the new form of government issued identification credentials. And they're essentially all based on your biometric data, which can be your fingerprints, your face, the iris of your eyeball. And the idea is essentially to collect all of that data and have it housed or have it tied directly to your digital ID. So your physical ID will be mapped to the digital ID.
This future that Whitney Webb will be describing in today's video will probably sound scary to a lot of you watching, but it's the reality of what we are to expect with this new AI digital asset future that BlackRock and many other elite organizations are trying to push on all of you. And I've been doing some research on the World Economic Forum and looking through a number of their different articles. And what I've found is most likely going to shock a lot of you guys. They're talking a lot about what Whitney Webb is mentioning in today's video. And when we're talking about digital ID and programmability, well, this is a huge topic in the cybersecurity section for World Economic Forum. You see, generally speaking, the World Economic Forum, or WEF, is actually working with the likes of the CIA, the FBI, and many other organizations for security reasons, when in reality their plans are a lot more sinister. And Whitney Webb is going to be talking about this in today's video, which is absolutely crucial for all of you to educate yourself on, or it's going to drastically change the future for virtually everybody across the globe today. So later we will be diving a little bit deeper into the World Economic Forum and how they are manipulating a lot of you. But first, let's hear what Whitney Webb has to say.
Digital IDs are not really a separate project from CBDCs and this new digital financial system. And UN documentation and also documentation from the Bank of International Settlements, they very overtly state that CBDCs and digital IDs are meant to go together. And without digital IDs, the CBDC digital finance system cannot exist. One of the reasons it can't exist without that is because of the KYC functionality built into this digital financial system. They have the know your customer protocols. They have to know who you are. And so they want to have your wallet tied to a digital ID and have that digital ID be mapped to your physical ID through the biometric data collection. So there's different efforts to make digital IDs either as NFTs, non-fungible tokens. There's also the efforts of Sam Altman of OpenAI and his WorldCoin project, whereby you scan your iris, you give them the biometric credentials of your eyeball, they give you a unique identifier, a digital ID, and it's inherently tied to a digital wallet. That is the same model the UN is using. They've already implemented it for refugees getting food assistance from the World Food Program. It's called Building Blocks. It's on blockchain. It involves refugees scanning their irises. In order to buy food or receive their rations, they have to check out of a grocery store style place in the refugee camp, and they.
So notice what she's saying. It's all tied to money. So if it's tied to the money and tied to finances, it's Esau, banking system. These bankers, Illuminati bankers, right? Like I said, they can go to a whole nother level when it comes to money and generating money and dealing with money. These Edomites, they go to a whole nother level because they've been dealing with money so long. That's what she's talking about right there. If you want to check out that video, it's the elites are planning to shock the world with this BlackRock side to it. So those are bankers. It's not hard to figure out that they're bankers because anything tied to money or finances is Esau involved in it. Okay, let me deal with this right here right quick. So it says, is there any biblical basis for believing God wants to save all people? No, there ain't no biblical basis to it because he don't say nothing about saving the whole world. He's dealing with a specific people, Israel. That's what he says all over and over again if you read the scriptures right. He said he got a certain people that he deal with, the apple of his eye. And he even goes in and shows us the people that came from Adam. They eventually became Israel, which is 12 sons that Jacob had. That's who we're dealing with. And he over and over he told us, don't mingle with the other people because of where they came from, their origins. So we're not trying to deal with them. Especially when you understand the flood. That's why the flood came. There was people here that wasn't supposed to be here. And he brought the flood to get rid of them. Okay? So with that being said, anybody have any comments on anything so far? Questions? Okay. I had talked about on several occasions about the stuff that's going on in Israel, right? For people would say these are some dumb moves that Netanyahu been making lately, and all the drama that he got Israel in. And I told you how that these people, all the weaponry that's on the earth, all these countries, they getting all their weaponry, the technology for the weaponry from Israel. Israel is the #1 elite country when it comes to weaponry. So check this out. So they got some up their sleeve.
Very shocking. Israel's military power and its high-tech strategies. Israel has some of the most advanced defense systems in the world, from the Iron Dome to AI-powered cyber capabilities, and it's got Hezbollah and Iran sweating. Elon sees these innovations as game changers, warning that they could completely reshape the balance of power in the Middle East. But with Israel's military technology pushing boundaries like never before, could Elon be right about their plan? Part 1. Elon Musk's fascination with Israel's military technology. It's a surprising twist for someone who mostly associate with tech for civilian life. But if you think about it, it actually makes perfect sense. Musk's whole career has been about pushing the boundaries of what's possible with technology. And Israel's defense systems are like something out of a sci-fi movie. You've got cutting-edge missile defense, AI-driven systems, and drones flying all over. It's exactly the kind of thing that would catch Musk's attention. Now, Elon Musk isn't just interested in Israel's tech because it's flashy or futuristic. He's fascinated by the impact it has, particularly in a region as volatile as the Middle East. We know Musk has always had a soft spot for innovation that can shake things up. And when he talks about Israel's military power, it's clear he's not just thinking about traditional notions of warfare. No, he's thinking about how Israel uses technology to gain an edge in a way that's totally redefining what military strength looks like in the 21st century. Israel might be a small country, but it packs a serious punch when it comes to defense. It's not about having the biggest army or the most tanks. It's about having the smartest tech. And Israel has some of the most advanced defense technology on the planet. Take their missile defense systems, for instance. We've all heard of the Iron Dome. It's that thing you see in the news now and then, shooting down incoming missiles midair. To most people, it's like something out of a video game. But to Elon Musk, this is a real-world technology that's setting a new standard for military power. What makes Israel's missile defense so remarkable isn't just the Iron Dome, though. They've also got David's sling and the arrow system. These aren't just random pieces of military hardware. They're part of a multi-layered defense network that makes it nearly impossible for any missile to actually reach Israeli soil. From Musk's perspective, this is huge. He knows a thing or two about rockets and precision control from his work with SpaceX. So when he sees Israel intercepting missiles with pinpoint accuracy, he gets why it's a game changer. The Iron Dome, for instance, is nothing short of a technological marvel, almost like a magician that can track and destroy missiles in the sky before they have a chance to reach their targets. Imagine this. A missile is speeding toward a city, and in those critical moments, the Iron Dome springs into action. This system doesn't just sit and watch. It immediately calculates the missile's trajectory with pinpoint precision. Within seconds, it launches a counter missile, intercepting and blowing the incoming threat out of the sky. It all happens so quickly, so seamlessly, that it feels almost unreal, like something straight out of a science fiction movie. For Elon Musk, someone who's been launching rockets into space and landing them back on Earth with remarkable accuracy, the Iron Dome must seem like a real-world version of his own engineering dreams. He likely appreciates the sophisticated blend of radar, artificial intelligence, and rapid response capabilities that make this system work. It's not just about intercepting missiles, it's about doing it with incredible efficiency and reliability. Musk, with his deep understanding of how challenging it is to control rockets and maintain precision, probably sees the Iron Dome as a major achievement in defense technology. But he doesn't just see it as impressive. Musk understands that a system like the Iron Dome is a game changer on the battlefield. In a world where military power often depends on having the latest and most advanced technology, Israel's Iron Dome gives them a significant edge. Hezbollah is pretty much out of luck. Musk understands that in this new era of warfare, small groups like Hezbollah are going to have a tough time keeping up. So what's the takeaway here? From Musk's perspective, Israel's tech-driven military isn't just a threat to Hezbollah and Iran. It's a whole new way of thinking about defense and offense. It's about using technology to not only protect your own borders, but also to keep your enemies at bay. Musk sees Israel as being miles ahead in this game, and he knows that unless Iran and Hezbollah can figure out how to counter this, they're going to be playing defense for a long time. Part 3, the regional impact and future of warfare. So now that we've gone through how Israel's tech-driven military might give Hezbollah and Iran plenty to worry about, let's look at the bigger picture. Elon Musk, as we know, isn't just interested in how technology works right now. He's always looking ahead, trying to predict what's next. And when it comes to Israel's military capabilities, he likely sees more than just an immediate advantage. He sees a glimpse into the future of warfare, one that's driven by innovation and strategic use of technology. For Musk, this isn't just about Israel securing its borders. It's about how Israel is changing the rules for everyone else watching. You see, when a country like Israel pushes the envelope with military tech, it doesn't just affect the immediate region. Other countries start paying attention too, and they begin to rethink their own strategies. Musk probably sees Israel as a kind of trendsetter in military innovation. The way they've integrated AI, drones, missile defense, and cyber warfare into one cohesive system is pretty impressive. And it's setting a new standard for what it means to have a strong military. In a sense, Musk likely believes that Israel is showing the world what the future of military power looks like. And in that future, it's not the size of your army that matters, it's how smart your technology is. This is where things get really interesting, because Israel's advancements aren't just creating ripples in the Middle East, they're creating waves that could affect global military dynamics. Think about it. If Israel's tech-driven approach proves to be as effective as Musk thinks it is, other nations might start to follow suit. Countries around the world are likely keeping a close eye on what Israel is doing, and they're learning from it. And for Musk, this isn't just speculation. He knows that once one country finds a successful strategy, others are quick to adopt it. After all, no one wants to be left behind in a race where technology is the deciding factor. And this is where the ripple effects really start to kick in. For countries that are already allies of Israel, this means they might look into adopting similar technologies to bolster their own defenses. But for countries that are on the other side of the fence, those that view Israel as a rival, this could be a wake-up call. They're going to realize that if they...
Okay.
Amazon hates this.
Any comments on that? Like I said, they have something, they haven't came out with it, but it's coming. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? Okay. Got some need to know information right here. Okay, back in Negro land.
Niger, home to over 25 million people, is a landlocked country in West Africa that has long been considered one of the world's poorest nations. It has faced significant challenges, including political instability and extreme poverty. Yet in recent years, Niger has started drawing attention on the global stage. But what's causing this sudden shift in global interest? Despite its past struggles, Niger holds something crucial to today's geopolitical landscape: vast reserves of uranium, oil, and other valuable natural resources. In fact, Niger holds the 7th largest uranium reserves in the world, contributing significantly to global energy needs, particularly in Europe. So why is Niger, with all these resources, still facing challenges? And more importantly, how is it becoming a pivotal player in global energy, trade, and security? Since gaining independence from France in the 1960s, Niger has been plagued by political instability, with frequent changes in leadership, including a military coup in 2021, followed by another attempt in 2023. This instability often led to the expulsion of Western allies like France and Germany, who previously played a major role in Niger's economy and security. However, as Western powers pulled out, new global players stepped in. Turkey, Russia, and China are now forming strong partnerships with Niger, seeing its strategic importance. Turkey has expanded its military presence, selling Bayraktar drones and deepening defense ties, while China has invested in Niger's oil infrastructure with plans for a $5 billion pipeline. What's Niger's strategy? It's about leveraging these partnerships to maintain sovereignty and boost its economy. By balancing relations with powerful nations, Niger is making sure its resources, especially uranium and oil, are at the forefront of global trade, securing its position on the world stage. And this is just the beginning. The core of Niger's rise is its wealth in natural resources. Niger is sitting on an enormous reserve of uranium, oil, and other minerals that the world desperately needs. To give you an idea of just how significant these resources are, Niger holds the 7th largest uranium reserves in the world. That's right, one of the key elements needed to power nuclear energy across Europe, and it's coming from Niger. In fact, Niger supplies about 25% of the European Union's uranium needs. This makes it critical to countries like France, which relies heavily on nuclear power. But that's not all. Niger also has oil reserves that have drawn attention from global superpowers. While Niger's oil industry has historically been underdeveloped due to political instability and lack of infrastructure, things are starting to change. Recently, China stepped in, planning a $5 billion oil pipeline that would stretch all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, allowing Niger to export up to 60,000 barrels of oil per day. And this is no small move. It's a game changer for Niger's oil sector, which had been lagging behind due to its landlocked position. So why are these resources so valuable to the rest of the world? Well, we're at a point in history where energy security is becoming one of the most important issues for nations everywhere.
So he said it's becoming a point in history when actually it's the point in prophecy. It's not a coincidence that focuses over in Niger and Burkina Faso and Mali and all those areas, because that's Negro land, and that's where prophecy is it. That's what the Israelites said. 10 tribes. Okay.
With climate change, global conflicts, and shifting trade dynamics, countries are scrambling to secure steady supplies of energy. And that's where Niger comes in, with its vast reserves of uranium, oil, and other minerals like gold and iron. It's no wonder that nations like China, Russia, and Turkey are racing to form partnerships. But it's not just about extracting the resources. Niger also faces the challenge of making sure that these resources are leveraged properly. Countries like Saudi Arabia and Russia have easier to extract oil, but Niger's oil reserves are a bit trickier. Many of Niger's oil fields are classified as unconventional reserves, which means they require more advanced techniques like fracking to extract. With so much at stake, it's no surprise that Niger has become a hotspot for international players. After the 2021 coup, many of Niger's traditional Western allies, including France and Germany, started to pull out their military presence. In the past, these Western nations were key partners in Niger's defense and economic strategies. But as they left, other nations quickly stepped in. Since 2019, Turkey has been selling Bayraktar drones to Niger and neighboring countries like Mali and Burkina Faso. These drones have become a crucial part of Niger's fight against insurgent groups. And it doesn't stop there. Turkey's growing influence in Niger isn't just about defense. The two nations have also strengthened ties in areas like education, trade, and healthcare. Then there's Russia. After Western troops withdrew, Russia saw an opportunity to increase its foothold in Niger. Russia had been providing military training and support to Niger and other West African countries, leveraging instability in the region to solidify its presence.
Let's look at that. So right here, the scripture, when it's Isaiah chapter 60, and it says, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the whole earth, gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee." So what is they talking about? Verse 3, "And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, kings to the brightness of thy rising. 4, lift up thine eyes round about and see, all that gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed upon thy side." Verse 5, "Then shalt thou see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall be converted unto thee." That's what we're looking at. And anyway, it says, it just came up this morning. It says in verse 5, Isaiah 60 and 5, "Then thou shalt see and flow together." So when the time comes, we're gonna come together. No time, nothing before that or after. It's an appointed time that he's gonna bring us back together, that we're gonna be unified. He says, "Then shalt thou see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come on thee." So when that's the same thing as we're gonna come out with great wealth, right? Abundance, great abundance. So the abundance and the unification comes at the same time. There's nothing nobody can do about it. When the time comes, it's gonna happen. Okay. Any questions or comments on that? Okay. We got to open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything? Any dialogue? Something they want to talk about?
Shalom, everyone. I would just like to have a little dialogue about names, right? And we always know that names mean something, just like Abraham means father of many nations, right? So
Okay.
I'm kind of always just thinking when I see things, my mind goes off. So, as you're watching commercials and so forth, you see all these pharmaceutical commercials that come up with all these names, right? So I always think about, where in the world do they get all these names from, for these different medications, right? So
Okay.
one thing led to another. So I thought about the recent storm that went through Florida, right? Milton, right? So I'm saying this name comes from somewhere. They're just not pulling these names out of the air. It's coming from somewhere. So I just started, doing some research, Brother Leonard. And, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but people can do research, right? So it just led me to a demon named Milion, right? Milion, right? And
Right.
it says Milion is a demon, a servant of Prince Arrington, Ariton, right? And then so
Okay.
that leads me to research about Arrington, right? So Arrington, also known as Egin, Egin, I may not be pronouncing that right, is a demonic sub-prince with dominion over the waters, right? He commands 22 servitudes, right? So that just led to a lot of other things. And if you guys get a chance also to research this name, S.L. McGregor Mathers, Mathers. Um, and so when I done some research on all of this, it led me to Hermes, right? And we know that's in uh the New Testament dealing with Paul, but we don't bother to do a lot of this research. And I truly believe knowledge is power. And once you start researching things, one leads to another, and you go deeper and deeper in the rabbit hole, right? So I always have to come to you for a lot of answers when it comes to this. So researching that, it said that Arrington was equivalent to the fallen angel Aziel, right? Which is in the book of Enoch. It talks about that. And I think it's starting with chapter 6, somewhere in there. But it talks about Aziel, how he came down and uh taught certain things on the earth, right? And I
Right.
think that is in hold on, Brother Leonard. Chapter 9 of in the book of Enoch, right? It says, Thou seest what Aziel had done, who had taught all unrighteousness on earth and revealed the eternal secrets which were kept in heaven, which men were striving to learn, right? So it talks about that. So I just want to say, Brother Leonard, a lot of times we are watching things and listening to things and not quite understanding where it's coming from, because like I said, they're
Right.
always ahead of us, right? So really you just
Right.
got to look at, they're totally demonic. Nothing about them is good. And when you read about uh the apostle Paul and him being connected to Hermes and so forth, that's just total wickedness. And we have so many people that's still tied to the New Testament and Paul
Right.
and JC and all of that. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, because I've been really doing some research on that and still doing some research. But maybe somebody else can also start doing some research on that, because like I said, knowledge is power. And it's finding out who we are, who our God is. And most of all, Brother Leonard, the beginning of knowledge is to fear the Lord. And a lot of us, we don't fear the Lord. So we just got to get back to that type of knowledge.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's right. It's right in front of our face on a daily basis. Like, except the days of the week. All this comes from a Gentile, demonic source. The names of the days of the week, names of the month, all that we dealing with those things on a daily basis, not understanding that they were set up by them. They bondage. It's bondage. And then too, when you say from what we learned in the book of Enoch, when you say demon, is a better term is an evil spirit, because he said
Okay.
when that giant died, the evil spirit came. So that the giant, along with the flesh body, he can only live so long. Once he shed that flesh body, he's bound to earth, like he said, forever. He's here forever. So the
Yes,
same
sir.
thing, Same thing, our forefathers and the prophets and all them was dealing with the same entity today. And that's what people don't understand. So, yeah, and so they got, when you say, another thing that you have to apply to, I don't really talk about that much, but sevens. So why the Creator deal with sevens? So we see that He created 7 spirits, 7 angels, holy angels from Him, right? Well, when it says when those angels came here, they got 7 spirits dealing with them. So you say, what are you talking about? Don't it tell you, a wicked spirit goes out looking for a body to possess, and then it possess it. You clean your house, you get it, you run it out and clean it out. Then he come back with what? 7 more spirits like him. See that?
Okay.
So when you go to Enoch, and it says that those angels, those 200, were leaders over a whole bunch of other angels. That's cause under them was angels that they control. And that's how when you understand that, that's what you look at what the Creator done. He got 7 angels He created, but one of them control the other 6. And we sit there, we thinking it's Yahweh, but it's not Yahweh. It's the Lord of hosts. He controlling those other 7, those other 6. He controlled the 7, but it's one of those 7 that control the other 6 on His behalf. And that's all. It's biblical. But we've been given the Gentile perspective because they want to lead us to the New Testament, to this God that they created JC. So, we're not dealing with the truth. Yeah.
Wow. And that name, Oriton, I didn't mention that. It said is a demon with dominion over water. So when it said that he was under, let me go back to my notes here. That under Aziel, right? And that Milion was a servant of Oriton, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, so they're calling it Hurricane Militant, like we said the other day. They're giving them these cute names, but you got to call it for what it is. And I may be talking over a lot of people's heads, and they may be like, "Oh, she crazy, this and that," but it is what it is. It's demonic. These names are not being made up and pulled out of the air. They're using these names for a reason, but they're giving them cute names.
Right. So let's look at that. It says that this Oriton had control over water, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the flood came because of the giants. They was abomination. They was the products of the fallen angels sleeping with women. They never was supposed to exist. And we know from the book of Enoch, it told us that giant gonna die, the flesh part of them gonna die, but the spirit gonna continue to live. So the flood came, right? With water.
Yes, sir.
So where Oriton come from?
Water, underworld, that water.
Yeah, before the flood. And then you go to Dagon. See what I'm saying? Then you go to Dagon.
Yes, sir.
What's the story of Dagon? That's the god that the Pope got, the fish head that he wear. Dagon, he came out of the water. What water? The water that after the flood. Same thing with Oriton.
OMG. Come on, brother. Okay, connect these dots.
Right, which goes back to, I told you about there was 6 races of giants that Abraham was dealing with in the land of Canaan, and then Rephaim, which is when you go and do your research on Rephaim, a ghost. See, they was like a ghost. So they however that happened with they get different characteristics that they get from those fallen angels, got supernatural abilities. So when they slept with the woman, those giants had different supernatural abilities they received, just like we do from our fathers and our mothers. We get certain characteristics from them. So that's what they would get that from them, those different characteristics. And so when with the red film was, they were still able to exist or and be seen, but they were still like a ghost-like type of being. And that's where the underworld come from Egypt. That's why they talking about the underworld and the Book of the Dead and all that is coming from that side of it. But you wouldn't know all that if you don't get into the research on that and find out exactly. Well, like Horus. That's how Horus was. Not Horus, but what's his name? The god of the underworld in Egypt, Anubis. He can exist on top of the earth. Then he can go back down. He can go down to Shaul. He can come back up. That's what the Raphaim had the ability to do. Yeah. And then,
So,
like I said
Brother,
before, it's a boundary between that. You have to summon them.
okay, I was gonna
So
ask
ain't
you
no
that.
accident. Ain't no accident. If you're dealing with these people, these people in powers that be dealing with them, ain't no accident. They summoned them. They summoned them. So whatever you get, it's on you because you summoned it. Okay?
Okay, because I was reading on the hermetic coat, right? I was reading about that also. So that's where I was going next, is to ask you that question. Is it that these demons are being summoned? So you answered that though, but yes.
Yeah. That's
And
a
those
major, right. That's a major part of the child sacrifice. Bring that blood brings them too. That's part of it.
okay.
Right.
Shalom.
Okay.
Is it important? Isn't it as important to know when you name your children, to know what name that you're naming your children?
Right.
Yes. And it says pharmaceutical has a name behind it that does have some demon spirit
Right.
about it.
Right. So let's look
And
at
thanks,
that. Let's look
Michelle.
at
I
that
will
right
look
quick.
into all that.
Right. Let's look at that right quick. On the book of Enoch, where I think it was chapter 8, you said?
Where it talked
Chapter
about the
8.
fallen angels,
Well, what they taught the women.
or where they taught. Okay, yes, sir. That
I
was
think it was 5. Yeah, 7. So it says, Enoch chapter 7, and all the
yes.
others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go into them and defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms, enchantments, the cutting the roots. So this is right here. All this means they know how to summon them. Let's keep going. It says, and made them acquainted with herbs, and they became pregnant, and they bore giants whose height was 3,000 ells, and who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. So this is where you get cannibalism, right? And they began to sin against birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and devour all one another with flesh and drank the blood. Then, see that? Drank the blood. That's where the child sacrifice coming in at. Then they still doing it today. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Then Azazel taught them to make swords, knives, and shields, breastplates, and made them. So these giants, see that? It's still talking about giants. That's why when you go to any of those stories or those movies like Jack and the Beanstalk, when Jack went up on the beanstalk, he got up there. All the giants, the one had all the swords and the medals and all that. They the ones had, that was brought into existence because their father showed them how to do it. Anyway, it says, and this part I want to get to, it says, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them and bracelets, ornaments, and the use of autonomy and the beautifying of ideas and all kinds of stones and colorings, tinctures. And there arose much godliness, and they committed fornication, and many were led astray because and became corrupt in all their ways. Now here you go right here. Simjaza taught enchantments, cutting the roots, Orman resolving of enchantment. Barakah taught the astrology, Kokabel the constellations, Ikabel the knowledge of clouds, right? Ain't they messing with clouds now? Oracle the signs of the earth, and Shemishel the signs of the sun, Egyptians. The Soraquel the course of the moon, and men perished and cried. Then also in another part of this, I don't see it right here, but rooms. See what I'm saying? Rooms and all that. All that's tied to what you just saying when they the names tied to all this. They show you certain type of names, and they got enchantments and runes and all that tied to it. You think that knowledge is gone, but that's the knowledge that these people are using to control the earth to this very day, is what those angels brought down. It's just been taken away from us or the population, but they still doing it because that information is what control the masses. They're still using it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And earlier this week, I think you played a video about them tampering with the clouds. It was either Wednesday or
right,
Thursday night. You
exactly,
played that video. Yes.
exactly. It was harps. So all that knowledge is still here. And like I said, even like I said with when you start talking about typology, that's an art. That came from them too. Numerology, all that's coming from them. The architecture, how to put runes and curses on the architecture. All that came out of Egypt because that's where they came down in. And that's why Egypt is such a high civilization that nobody can really compare no other civilization to it because that's where those 200 angels came down there after they left Mount Hermon. And that, like I said, that stuff is still being used today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there something? Yeah. Anybody else have anything on that? Questions coming? Yeah. Let me deal with this right quick because I said, like I was saying, these people know exactly what they're doing. We talked about this before, I think, and I got videos on it when I first started coming online about the FEMA regions. You got 10 FEMA regions. A lot of people don't know that. And inside those regions, you got a governor. It's not the same. You got the other governor that run the state, but you got a governor over this FEMA region. And that's when they start talking about the shadow government. So this is really who's going behind everything. So you got 10 FEMA regions, but because there's so many of us down here in the South, blacks is where we originated from. You got Deep South, 2 regions that's called Deep South 1 and Deep South 2, right? Check this out.
Take matter in my own hand. It's not right. And you'll have to excuse my quivering chin because it just makes me so mad that I just love to just go up there and pop them right in the mouth.
Like it or not, everybody's concealed carry, and nobody's going to put up with that here. We're just not.
But here there are too many.
So these are all the white folks that's down in the Deep South region. That's what they're saying about the immigrants. You know, they're starting to infest the Deep South. And this their response.
Hard-headed Southerners and too many guns, and they're not afraid to use them.
I'm afraid we'll go to civil war.
Wow, Alabama. This ain't Pennsylvania. We drove across the state of Alabama for 5 days talking to people about all the migrants coming into their state. And oh boy. So this is part 3 in a series about the immigration invasion into our communities. Ohio, Pennsylvania, and now Alabama. Difference is, down here, it's just starting. People here, they're not happy about it. They told me, you ain't bringing that stuff down here to the great state of Alabama. We ain't putting up with that. But it's too late. It's already coming. I know that. After driving around here and talking to folks for a few days, I think they're starting to realize that too. We'll get to all of that in a little bit. Your eyes are going to open wide. This story begins in little Sylacauga, Alabama. Population 12,000. It's a middle-class town in the middle of nowhere down here. It's seen better days. Manufacturing and mills have closed. Cotton mills were a big deal down here, but those days are long gone. NAFTA was the final nail. But they're doing okay down here. Good folks, hard-working blue-collar town. Type of southern city where there's a church in every neighborhood. Pretty nice-looking place. You can tell people here have pride in it. Well, a month ago, things began to really heat up. People looked around and said, hey, who are all these immigrants walking around? They're living in houses and 10, 20 at a time. That's weird. Why are they here? And then, oh no, they thought, little us? That sparked a debate that's turned this town upside down.
You're gonna have crime. You're gonna have different groups of people at odds with each other. What, you gonna threaten somebody because the city council can't do something?
Because there's no way these people are paying their own rent, paid their way over here, bringing this other. My money was doing it, and I'm tired of it.
You know, what are you gonna do? You're gonna stop that? If you can't stop that, then we're gonna have to stop it.
It's the same thing here that I saw in the other states I visited. Exact same problems. There's stories coming in from all over Alabama about immigrant surges everywhere here. Baldwin County, Marshall County, Franklin County, right here in Talladega County. The city councilwoman in Sylacauga said she fears civil unrest. My God. So I've been watching all this. People have been telling me, you need to come down to Alabama. So we did. We came down to talk to people on the ground. But here's the difference. Down here, this is where the invasion is just beginning. So I wanted to come down and see what folks are thinking down here.
We are a loving community. We're an accepting community. We're very open, but certainly there's limits. We're a small town. And when you begin to think of seeing the things that we've seen in Aurora and Springfield, that type of thing starting to happen here in Bohumpkin, Alabama, Sylacauga, Alabama, where a population of barely over 12,000 people, scares people to death. And as a minister also in town, then it was important for me to try to establish some form of civility and some middle ground in this, because everyone's just been caught flat-footed.
Why do you think they're coming to Alabama now?
There's a lot of theories on that. I think it's we're a test market. Let's see how they receive the immigrants that come in. I also believe that it's also a hotbed state. I mean, let's face it, you start looking at the Southeast, and I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a high percentage of people that own firearms. And when people, the embers get stoked, then sometimes people take the wrong action and make very poor decisions. And it's possible that, I don't know, are we trying to stoke fires to instigate something? I hate to say something like that, but we've seen how the government works. We see how the feds work. I'm not
racist. They have strong opinions. They are afraid to express them here, even though they're very conservative and we're in Alabama. But it's a very sensitive subject. I finally found somebody in the middle class area to talk to.
We don't have anything against immigrants, but we fear we want it to be safe. This is a great neighborhood to live in. My wife can go run at 9 o'clock at night and be safe. We want that to continue. We worry with people moving to town who we don't know who they are, who could be criminals from another country. We worry about that. I mean, we don't have anything against them, but we worry that there may be people in their midst that are bad. And also, too, then you have to worry about the child trafficking. 324 kids into our country, 324,000 kids into our country this past year, and no one's really supervising those kids.
Why do you think there's so many immigrants flooding in now? Why are they opening the borders? Why are they open?
Well, It's just that's a great question. Everybody would say because of political ideology, hoping to gain a hand. I mean, it's true that today that there is a shortage of workers. And I study Peter Zeihan a lot. He's a big YouTube guy, and he'll tell you that. And we do want good workers, but we have to do it fairly so that it doesn't hurt the people that are already here trying to earn a living, especially people that are make less than $40,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. And look, I'm trying to be balanced. I saw one Harris supporter in town, so I stopped to talk to her.
How do you feel about, like, everyone's up in arms right now about, like, the immigration stuff?
I'm not so worried about immigration. I mean, the reality is we are all immigrants here, unless we're Native Americans. I don't think that every immigrant is a rapist, a murderer. I think that is completely insane. And personally, I welcome people. I have 2 children that we adopted from Brazil, and an exchange student from Bolivia. And, everybody's gainfully employed. Nobody is in jail. Nobody's a murderer. So I think it's a bunch of hype, really.
Because they're saying, like, I know the city council got all crazy about...
rumors that, life is going to end if somebody that speaks another language or doesn't look like you moves in your neighborhood. And that's just, for me, it's not the way we want to be as neighbors and as Americans. I believe we should, open our arms, and some of the greatest Americans in the country have been immigrants who have made this country what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So not that everybody is good, but on the most part, I think that there's room to love everybody and accept everybody.
Mm-hmm. I think the only thing that people will say is we're giving away so much money to immigrants.
I'm not sure if we are. I don't know if that's really true or not. If you read the hype, it's like people are voting and they're, doing all sorts of things. And I'm having a hard time, understanding that. I just applied yesterday for my Star ID, my Alabama Star ID license, and it's probably harder to get that than my passport. So
yeah. I
don't know how, or the idea that people are going in and changing their hat or their shirt and voting 6 times. It's like, it doesn't happen, It's just, it's completely insane to me.
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody got anything on that?
I think this was happening in Talladega County, right, Alabama. I don't know if you guys know much about that area, but very, very racist there, in that county, right? So I was watching a video the other day saying that they were busing a lot of Haitians to Sylacauga, I may be saying that wrong, Alabama, and they were really in an uproar about that, about how many Haitians were being bussed in. So, Brother Leonard, here lately we have been hearing a lot about immigrants being bussed to these
Right.
different places. So you have to know it's all planned.
Right, targeted.
Right. It's a targeted area. And to me, I was really thrown about them placing the Haitians there in Talladega County, Alabama. Very racist area.
Exactly. And there's some, it seemed like to me they would send them somewhere else. Then they already know these people packing guns, and they know that we might as well call it what it is, a sundown town.
Yes, it is.
So you're gonna bring some Haitians, people of color, to a sundown town and drop them off.
Right.
You're looking for some drama.
Right. Yes, sir.
Shalom. Shalom, and they mentioned that they didn't have much employment. So what are they going to do? How are they going to get a job or even supply, for themselves? They'll be homeless again. They said, I don't think they're giving them, when she said, how do they get a house and how are they paying rent when obviously they don't have a job because they're not hiring them. That's another thing. How are they going to get a job when they're not hiring? They say they're short of jobs anyway.
Yeah, like she said, there's political reasons.
Right. Monthly
Zombies.
government funds.
Right. Exactly. And then, I mean, you look at the whole spectrum of everything. They are building up for a civil war. They want a civil war. That's what they want. You can see it. They're showing you in the movies. They're making all these movies pertaining to civil war. And then, like I said, why would you take some Haitians, bust them to a sundown town, knowing that it's going to be conflict? And then these people, all of them, you know that that area is infested with guns. All of them got guns.
Right.
Looking for
Yes,
drama.
sir. And
Right.
I may have said that name wrong. I think it's Sylacauga, Sylacauga, Alabama.
Right, exactly. That's how you spell it. Is there something?
Yes,
Anybody
I
else?
thought about that. I thought about that because that's off of Interstate 20. If you go through Mississippi before you hit the Georgia line, you're gonna go through that area. So, like I said, that's a place you don't want to stop, even if it's off of the interstate. You don't want to stop.
No. Keep going. So I can make it to the next town.
Yes,
Just
sir.
like Vital. Vital,
Exactly.
Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do our topic for inside the class, and that's it's concerning Israel return. And you hear so many things about that. People wondering how it's going to happen and all that, but we got a blueprint. We saw how they came out of Israel, how they came out of Egypt, and then especially after they became a nation, they went back into captivity in Babylon, and then so they had to come back, and when they came back to Babylon, they had to reestablish everything that was there before they was ran out by the Chaldeans. So we're gonna pick it up in chapter 3 of Ezra when Ezra came back from Babylon. So in chapter 3 of Ezra, verse 1, just the restoration and worship. Same thing has to happen when we leave here this time. It says, and when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in their cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man. See that? What they tell you right there. They unified, like I just said. He said he's gonna, in Isaiah, he's gonna bring back, he's gonna turn the forces of the Gentile back toward Israel, and they were gonna come together. Right here, we see the same thing. The people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. So what they're telling you, Jacob, he had 12 sons, but they all came from one man. That's why the Most High called them Israel Jacob, because they all came from one man. His name was Jacob. So it says, then stood up Jeshua, the son of Jozak, and his brother, and Jozak is the high priest. Jeshua is the high priest during the time when they came out of Babylon. And his brother is the priest. And Zerubbabel, son of Shetel, and his brethren, these out of David's lineage, and son of his brethren, and they built the altar. It's the first thing they did when they got back to the land. Built the altar of God of Israel to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God. And they set the altar upon this base, for fear was upon them because the people of those countries, and they offer burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord, even burnt offerings morning and evening. And they kept also the feast of tabernacle, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the custom, as the duty of every day requires. And afterwards offered the continual burnt offerings both of the new moons and of all the set feasts of the Lord that were consecrated, and of everyone that willingly offered a free will offering unto the Lord. From the first day of the seventh month, see that? From the first day of the seventh month, began they to offer burnt offerings unto the Lord, but the foundation of the temple of the Lord was not yet laid. So this is the same thing we got to do. It's going to be on the seventh month, right? We got to go back the same way. Seven, they gave money also unto the masons and to the carpenters and meat and drink and oil unto the Zidons and to them of Tyre to bring cedar trees from Lebanon to the sea of Joppa, according to the grant that they had of Cyrus, king of Persia. Then rebuilding of the temple. Now, in the second year of their coming into the house of the Lord of God at Jerusalem, in the second month, began Zerubbabel the son of Sethur, and Joshua the son of Jozadak, and the remnant of their brethren, the priests and the Levites, and all they that were come out of the captivity unto Jerusalem, and appointed the Levites from 20 years old and upward to set forward the work of the house of the Lord. Then stood Joshua with his sons and his brethren, Kedemiel and his sons, and the sons of Judah together to set forward the work. Set forward the workmen in the house of God, the sons of Henadad with their sons and their brethren, the Levites. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, sons of Asaph, with their cymbals, to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. So right here, this is Psalms right here. See that? It says, and when the builders laid, Ezra 3 and 10, and when the builders laid the foundation of the temple, right? That's what David wrote the Psalms, they sung those songs in the temple. The foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with their trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, right? That's what you see, Asaph all through the Psalms, and with the cymbals, to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. So David wrote all the Psalms. So these Psalms ain't you don't read the Psalms and direct them toward JC. You read the Psalms and direct them toward David. This is why David wrote them for the Israelites and the priests to sing them in the temple. Okay? So anyway, and they sang together by the course in praising and giving thanks unto the Lord, because he is good, for his mercy endured forever toward Israel. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. But many of the priests and the Levites and the chief of the fathers, who were ancient men that had seen the first house, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice, and many shouted aloud for joy, so that the people could not discern the noise of the shout of joy from the noise of weeping for the people. For the people shouted with a loud shout, and the noise was heard afar off. So that was Ezra chapter 3. Any questions or comments on that chapter? Okay.
Shalom. The burning of the offering, the Most High sets the fire, or do they actually put the fire once they built the altar, and how the wood is underneath there? Do they make do they set the fire underneath the altar, or the Most High does it?
No, they set the fire, and they had certain types of, just like you got unclean animals, you got unclean plants, unclean trees. There's certain trees they use to start the fire with. Like for example, the sap, like in a pine tree, it's just like a gas. The pine is just like gas. You put a fire to it, it gets catch. That's what causes a forest fire to burn so fast, because of the sap that's in the trees, certain trees. If you
Shalom.
go back, yeah, you go to that story of Jeremiah when the Chaldeans came, he took the fire that they used, the certain type of way that they kept that fire going, but he took that fire and he went and hid it. And then when they came back from Babylon, he went to that place and got where he had put the coals or whatever that was left, and he brought it back. And Ezra told them to take it was turned into sod and mud, and he said just take a handful of it and bring it out in the sun and let it dry. And when it started drying, it caught fire. I think that's in one of those apocryphal books, but I'll find it. Yeah.
Yes, shalom. So when Abel and Cain did their sacrifice, when they did when they built the altar and placed the first, his first lamb or animal on it, and he did his fruits. Did the Most High set the fire under it to burn it?
Well, Cain said the fire came down just like with Elijah. The fire came down from heaven and burned up the sacrifice, right? That's why it says that Cain, he didn't do it because Cain offering wasn't, he didn't approve of Cain offering, so the fire didn't come down. But the fire came down when Abel put his offering up there. That's why Cain was feeling the way he was.
Yes, sir. So when they come about the red heifer, and they're trying to do the burning of the altar with that, if they will put the fire underneath it, but they're saying that the Most High is supposed to do it if they're doing the correct sacrifice.
Right. He's supposed to.
Yes, sir.
Right. Well, we know he's not. Right. Okay, anybody else? I'll read one more chapter 4, right? It's the if you know anything about Second Ezra, the same thing is in Second Ezra right here about adversaries seek to stop the work, right? And this tied to Daniel 9:25 that Daniel prophesied they was going to come up against Israel. They don't have nothing to do with it. Jesus and the Sadducees and the Pharisees and all that. No, it's when Zerubbabel, he was Messiah. When he got back, him and Nehemiah, they got back and they were trying to build a wall and they were trying to set the temple up. They got opposition. Like I broke down yesterday with Samaria. Samaria don't want them back because they were people that was brought there instead of Israelites. They ain't Israelites, but now the king of Syria went and got priests and brought them there and taught those people in Samaria how to live like us. So now they there keeping our laws and keeping our customs, but they're not Israelites. So when real Israelites actually came back, they don't want them back. So that's what we're dealing with right here. Chapter 4 says, now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple, these are Samaritans. The 10 tribes, they still over in Assyria, right? It says, unto the Lord, God of Israel. Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chiefs of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your God as you do. So that's what I was talking about right here. They said those when King of Syria brought those people there, put them in the land, Yahweh Lord of hosts was killing them. He was sending lions to kill them because they don't belong there. They weren't his people. He was sending, so they sent and got some priests from Assyria, Israelites, real priests, and brought them back there, and they taught them the ways of the God that was in the God that was of the land. And so that's what he's saying right here. He says, chapter 4, verse 2. Then they came to Zerubbabel, these people, Samaritans, right? And to the chief of the fathers, and said to them, let us build with you, for we seek your God as you do. That's because those Levites earlier they had brought them and taught them how to live in the land, right? And we do See that? We do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esther. There go the king of Assyria right here. Escron, the king of Ashur, which brought us up hither, right? There it is. 3. But Zerubbabel and Joshua and the rest of the chiefs of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build a house unto the child God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as the king Cyrus, king of Persia, have mentioned to us. So this verse right here goes back to what I was talking about this morning in the morning Shabbat class when he was talking about how people, you got two choices. You got Democrat or Republican, and you want to you don't want to deal with Harris, and they want you want to do. You got a choice out of Trump and Harris and all that, but they don't never give you that third option, which is the right option. Like I say, when you start dealing with the scriptures, they don't want to hear what the Israelites, the true Israelites, and the priests, you don't want to hear what they have to say. So this is a prime example right here. It says, verse 3, but Zerubbabel. So they came and said, we want to build with you, right? So now they're dealing with the real Israelites. In verse 3, but Zerubbabel and Joshua and the rest of the chiefs of the fathers. See, we never have no choice in nothing over here. And said unto them, you have nothing to do with us. See that? That's why they don't want to deal with us. You have nothing to do with us to build a house unto our God. But we ourselves together will build unto the Lord our God, as King Cyrus, king of Persia, have commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them. This is what Daniel was talking about. So nothing to do with New Testament. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even unto the reign of Darius, king of Persia. And in the reign of Artaxerxes, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artaxerxes wrote Bishlam and Meredith and Tibil. These are people from Samaria, right? And rest of their company unto Artaxerxes, king of Persia, and the writing of the letter was written in the Syrian tongue and interpreted in the Syrian tongue. Rehoboam, counselor, and Shimdai the scribe wrote the letter against Jerusalem. See that? Against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes, king, in this sort. Then wrote Rehum, the counselor, and Shimshai, the scribe, and the rest of their companions, the Danites, the Alphrites, the Torah. I can't pronounce these words, but if you go look at these names right here and go to 2 Kings, you're gonna see these the same people. They're not Israelites, but they in the land of the 10 tribes, right? 10. And the rest of the nations whom the great and noble are now brought over and set, see that, in the cities of Samaria, and the rest that are on this side of the river, and at the same time, at such a time. This is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes, the king, and thy servants, the men of this side of the river, and such as at such a time. Be it known unto the king that the Jews, Israelites, which came up from thee to us, are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls. They got a wall right here. Set up the walls thereof and join the foundation. Be it known now unto the king that if this city be built and the walls set up again, then will they not pay toll, tribute, and custom, and so thou shalt and damage the revenue of the kings. Now, because we have maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meant for us to see the king's dishonor, therefore have we sent and certify the king, that search may be made in the books of the records of thy fathers, so that thou find in the books of the records and know that this city is a rebellious city and hurtful unto kings and providences, and that they have moved tradition within the same of old times, for which cause was this city destroyed. We certify the king that if the city be built again and the walls thereof set up, by this means thou shalt have no portion on this side of the river. Now here you go. This is the prophecy when he says the Messiah is going to be cut off right here. Jerubbaal 17. Then sent the king and answered unto Rehum and the counselor and Shimshai the scribe and to the rest of their companions that dwelled in Samaria and unto the rest of beyond the river peace. And at such a time, and the letter which ye sent unto us have been plainly read before me, and I commanded, and search have been made, and it is found that this city of old times have made insurrection against kings, and their rebellion and sedition have been made therein. There have been mighty kings also over Jerusalem, which have ruled over all the countries beyond the river, and told tribute and custom was paid unto them. Give ye now a commandment. Here go the commandment. Give ye now a commandment to cause these men to cease, and that this city be not builded until another commandment shall be given from me. Take heed now that ye fail not to do this. Why should damage grow to the hurt of the kings? Now, when the copy of the king Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehoboam and Shimshai the scribe and their companions, they went up in haste to Jerusalem unto the Jews and made them cease by force and power. Then ceased the work of the house of God which is in Jerusalem. So it ceased until the second year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia. So they go to fulfillment. Daniel 9:25 right there, they ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. And like I said, it's all over the scriptures once you understand what's going on and what these people have done. So any comments or questions before we go?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. I think that also answers a question I think that was posed at the beginning of the class that you read, right? When you understand that this has nothing to do with JC, you also understand that God does not want to save all people. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
exactly.
Like, yeah, when as you were reading that, I was just, thinking about that. Like, he does not want to save all people,
Exactly. Right. Right. You got different origins they came from, but they want you to think that everybody that's on the planet ascended from Adam, but everybody ain't ascended from Adam. We know that from what the angels done.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
And I just have to say, the Most High, I'm telling you, he comes through, Brother Leonard. Sister Nidra and I was just talking about this last night. I mean, this very subject right here, and here it comes today. You are reading this.
Is there
All
something?
praises. Yes, sir. All
That's how he
praises.
works.
Yes.
If you hang around
Woo.
with him, you find out that's how he works. Yeah.
Yes.
You
Thank you,
something?
Lord. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So with that being said, shalom, bro. So with that being said, we're gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all. I'll see the women tomorrow, but at 5 o'clock. Everybody else will see you on Tuesday. It's like advanced Bible study. Shalom. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and help it move along.
Yes. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. All praise.